As we have already learned that the factors to economic growth are physical capital and human capital. Human capital is generally increased by the government through spending in public education along with the education provided by private institutions. But physical capital is mainly created through private investment spending. So to understand how private investment spending is financed, we need to know about the relationship between savings and investment spending in any economy. The most basic point about savings and investment spending is that they are equal. It's a fact of accounting called the savings investment spending identity. Now let's analyze the savings investment spending identity in a closed economy. A closed economy means a country not open to the capital inflow or capital outflow. That is, there are no exports, no imports, no foreign investment at all. If imports and exports are closed in any economy, the amount of savings is equal to the investment spending. Whereas, in case of an open economy, we need to consider the term net capital inflow. It is the total capital inflow into the country minus the capital outflow from the country. So in any economy, investment spending is equal to national savings plus net capital inflow. What we know now is that an economic's savings are used to finance investment spending. But how are these funds available for investment spending allocated among different projects? We need to know about market loanable funds. In any economy, the lenders and borrowers must come together to lend and borrow the funds. There is one market in economics where the lenders and borrowers come together to exchange the fund. This hypothetical market is called the loanable funds market. In a loanable funds market, the demand curve of loanable funds has a decreasing slope as in the graph. Why is that so? Let's take a real example of a business. A business firm that takes $10,000 from the bank at an interest rate of $10 for a year had to return $11,000 at the end of the year. So the firm to be in a profit should earn more than $1,000 using the $10,000 borrowed. If the interest rate was less than 10%, the profit earned by the firm would have been higher, and hence many business firms would ask for the funds in the market. This means the demand for loanable funds has increased. But if the interest rate increases, the profit that the business makes through borrowed funds decreases, and hence the demand for loanable funds decreases. Now look at the supply curve. As we know that the supplier of loanable funds are the savers. They lend their money expecting a good return for their money. So if the interest rate is higher, the suppliers get more return, and hence the quantity of loanable funds increases as the interest rate increases. If we draw both curves in a single graph, they coincide at a point where the interest rate is called the equilibrium interest rate. In this graph, the equilibrium interest rate is 8%. At an interest rate of 8%, the projects that are profitable at 8% interest rate are funded, while those that do not earn profit at that interest rate are not funded. The demand curves and the supply curves are not always stagnant. What if any business opportunity arises and firms rush to invest in that business? They go to the market to borrow money, increasing the demand for loanable funds. This shifts the demand curve to the right. Also, if the government does not have enough money to spend, it comes to the market for loans, and hence the demand curve again shifts right. There are many cases when the demand curve shifts left, like the failure of dot-com businesses had led to the disillusionment of the internet business and the demand curve shifted left. From 2001 to 2006, due to the higher prices of housing in the US, people saved less, which decreased the supply of loanable funds, and the supply curve shifted left. Similarly, capital inflow and capital outflow into any country change as the investor's perspective on any country changes. The capital inflows into Greece increased after 2000 as it changed its currency into euro, a common European currency. But by 2009, worries about the Greece government solvency led to a collapse in the investor confidence, decreasing the capital inflow. The supply curve for loanable funds shifted right at first and then shifted left in the case of Greece. When I mentioned the changes in government borrowing to shift the demand curve, we need to know that as the government demand for loan increases, the interest rate increases. The businesses then cut off their investment spending. So, other things equal, the rise in the government budget deficit tends to reduce the overall investment spending. This effect is called crowding out. However, crowding out does not occur if the economy is depressed, that is, its growth rate is negative. In this case, government spending helps to increase the employment and earnings of businesses and eventually increase investment spending. Well, this is all about the savings and investment spending part 1. Please wait for part 2 to know many other details of the financial institutions. Please do not forget to subscribe the channel. Thank you everyone. Have a good time and stay blessed.